Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please ensure to like, share, and subscribe. And also click the bell notification in the top right-hand corner to be made aware anytime I upload tutorials or videos to YouTube. All right, let's craft together. All right, guys, I have had help from one of my group members, and we have brainstormed and come up with a solution for this 8 by 10.5 repurposed notepad cover. So let's get into it, okay? All right, so with this particular process, guys, we're not going to need Microsoft Word at all, okay? So we're just going to use Canva and Cricut Design Space. That's it to create this template or this image and template, okay? All right, so what we're going to do inside Canva, and I think all of what I'm going to show you can be done with a free version of Canva. So when you come in, you're going to come down to custom size, and you're going to change this to 8.5 by 11 inches, which I already have it set to, so I'm not going to change mine. But you want 8.5 by 11 inches, and you're going to click on Create New Design. Now that's going to give us our paper size, 8.5 by 11, which is going to be your card stock that you're going to put your image on and then print it out, okay? The next thing you're going to do is I'm just going to come down to elements or come over to elements, and I'm just going to select grid, okay? And when I do that, I'm just going to take this grid here and I'm going to bring that in, and then I'm going to size that to 8 by 10.5, which is going to serve as our image. So I'm just going to click on the corner here and bring this down to 8 in width, and then 10.5 in, I went too far. There we go. 8 in height, 8 in, let me get this right, 8 in width and 10.5 in height. Okay, and then once you get that in there, we're going to go ahead and position that grid and just make sure that it's centered. So let's take a look. I think we already have it centered, so that's why we can't click on center here, because it's already centered. All right, so once we do that, we are now good to go with putting our image in. Now you can save this at this point in time. You can save it to repurposed 8 by 10.5. And that way you can save this and have it as your guide file and save. Have it as your guide going forward when you're working with the 8 by 10.5. Okay. So all we need to do now is come over to upload, and then we would find whatever image we were going to be using. And I have a lot of my sizes that are for the what I'm trying to say. I have a lot of images in here that are for my tumblers. So I don't want to use one of those. Let me get one that might have been more in the portrait position. Let's try. All right, so that's the image that I'm going to be using. So what we did, just to talk about what we did, we started out, we came into Canva, we created a document size of our cardstock, which is 8.5 by 11. And then after we did that, we came in and we added a grid, and we changed that grid to a size of 8 by 10.5, which is going to serve as your template size that you're going to have Cricut to cut out for you here in a moment. And and then after you did that, you're going to bring your image in, and your image, when you bring it in, it will take the place of that grid that you inserted. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, guys. Let me see if this image is too many people. I could size it down, but I want one that I don't have to. So let's see if I got another one and another one. Let's see. Oh, that one's pretty. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that one because she's gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Okay. All right. So we're gonna use this image. All right. So once we get our um, image in, guys, we're now going to click on share, and we're gonna download. And you can leave it. You can leave all this. We're not gonna do anything here. But we are going to now download our image as a PNG. Now, when I download it, it's here, repurpose 8 by 10 and a half. I'm just going to click on that, and there her is. There her is, just gorgeous. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now that we've opened the image, we just double click the file and opened it up right from there. So this is where we're going to print from. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click and print. And then it's going to allow me to choose my printer that I want to print from. I have 3 printers, so I'm going to print from my 7740. And we want to put this in the portrait position. And I'm going to use the main tray. And we have that 8.5 by 11 on plain paper. And we want to leave everything else as it is. I'm going to click on more settings because I want to put my quality on best or high quality. I always like to use high quality. And everything else we're just going to leave as is, guys. There is nothing else we need to do here. So we're going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my paper into my printer. So give me 1 second. All right, I'm going to click on print. And from there, all we're going to do now is just go over to Cricut Design Space. And in Cricut Design Space, this is where you're going to have your pen and gear 8.5 by or 8 by 10.5. And with the 33 holes, that's what I'm working with. And we're just going to take that template. Now, I have linked the supplier that I would recommend for your templates, but I will put that in the description here for you as well. Again, so I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to take that template and just shift it up in the top left corner. And then we're going to click on make it. So it's just a matter of going to upload, finding wherever that pen and gear template is on your computer and bringing it into Cricut Design Space. Okay. And then making sure that it's at an 8 by 10.5. If it's not, depending on where you got your template from, you want to click on the lock proportions one time and then manually type in your 8 by 10.5. So we're going to go ahead and lock that back. And so at this point, we're ready to click on make it. Now, when you put your paper, your 8.5 by 11 cardstock on your grid, you are going to line it up to that top left corner. Okay, so we're not coming down 1/2 an inch. We're going to start in the top left corner. We're going to go ahead and change our material size to a 12 by 12 because we don't need a 12 by 24 mat. And then Cricut is going to go ahead and it's going to cut out this template on our image that we just printed out. So we're not going to put our image in Cricut and then we have to worry about Cricut telling us that our image is too large, especially if you don't have a wide format printer. All right, so I'm gonna grab my print and we're gonna go ahead and load this into Cricut Design Space and get Cricut to cut it. So I'm gonna come up on the screen now. Give me one moment. All right, guys, here's our image. And you can see that we have it lined up at the very top left of our 12 by 12 mat. And we don't have any holes punched in here. We just have the image that we printed out on the 8.5 by 11 glitter cardstock. Gorgeous. And we're now just going to put this into Cricut. I'm going to tell Cricut that I'm using glitter cardstock. I forgot to do that, so give me 1 second. All right, so after you change your mat to a 12 by 12, guys, or you indicate in Cricut Design Space, you've clicked continue and you say you're using a 12 by 12, then you want to make sure that I'm using glitter cardstock. You're going to choose whatever material you're using. You're going to select whatever material. So if you're just using regular cardstock, then that's what you want to select. So we're going to go ahead and get this party started. So what Cricut is going to do, it's going to go ahead and cut out those 36 holes for us. So we'll have 33 small ones and then the 3 larger size ones. And then it'll cut around there and cut out our 8 by 10.5. All right, so I'm going to let that roll so you guys can see the full process there. And then I'll come back when it is done. All right, we're gonna go ahead and release it from our mat. And look at that, guys. Comes off so easy. And we're gonna go ahead and take it off. And can see now, we're going to have to punch out a couple of these little holes that are there. But we're going to go ahead and push those out. They'll be simple. They're already cut, so we'll just push them out because all of the holes are there. We're just going to take that and just pull those off. Just like that. And there we have it. We have our 8 by 10.5 notepad cover. So let's go ahead and put it on. All right, guys, we are going to finish out our process. We're going to be taking the 8 by 10.5 pen and gear notepad, and we're going to take this cover off, and we're going to replace this cover with this image, okay, that we just created. Gorgeous. All right, so for this part of the process, guys, you have 2 pieces of metal right here that are connected, the first 2 pieces, and you see that little one piece that has that wire bent. We're going to snip off the part that's bent, and then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. We have that little piece right there that's bent. We're going to cut that with our wire cutters. All right, so I'm going to take my wire cutters and I'm just going to snip that little metal piece off. And you want to make sure you do remove it, because if you don't, then your notepad won't come off easily. And sometimes that little piece of metal wire, it tries to hide. So it's here just floating around. There it goes, it fell. There we go. All right, so we snipped it off from the bottom. We're going to do the same thing on the top. We are going to snip that little, put it on this side so you can see. We're going to snip this little piece right here that's bent. Hopefully you guys can see that. We're going to snip that off. And let me make sure I got it going in the right direction. All right, there we go. All right, now we're going to take, and when holding your notepad together, we're just going to roll. We're going to start rolling this wire to get it to come out. Just like that, just roll. Okay, see how it's coming out? All I'm doing is holding my paper together with one hand and then rolling the wire towards the left to get it off. And I do feel like a little bend in there, so I may have to snip it when I'm getting ready to put it back together. And then once we get this off, guys, and we put our other cover on, we're going to take and we're going to, just like we're rolling this out, we're going to roll it right back in. So you see how we got that wire now? All right, so we're going to take off the cover, the pen and gear notepad cover. We're going to take that off, and we're going to take our cover and we're going to put it on. And just make sure everything is lined up, guys. See how that's lined up? You want to make sure it is lined up, because if it's not lined up, it's going to be hard getting that metal to go back in. So, you know, mine always look a little off because I'm trying to hold it up and show it to you at the same time. But you guys can see that our holes are lined up. Cuts perfectly. All right, so we're going to take our metal, and I'm going to start here on the side. I'm just going to put this back in that first hole. Slide your metal back in that first hole, and you're going to start rolling it back in. See how it's connecting? So for me, I always kind of help it out a little bit, only because I'm trying to hold it up like this so you guys can see it at the same time. Let me snip this one little end. It feels like it has just a little bit of a crook in it or curve in it. So I'm just going to snip it so that it'll come on off easily. Give me 1 second here. Just one little bend. All right, there we go. All right, line my papers back up, and we're just gonna roll it. Just roll, roll, roll. And you see how it's going back in. If you miss a hole, just go back and redo it, guys, because otherwise your pad is not going to line up properly. All right. Yeah, see, I can't see. I can't see on that side as I'm holding it, so let me try to grip it tighter. All right, so you can see how it's going back in. Our holes are lined up, and we're gonna keep rolling. We're just rolling it right back together. So for me, it's this one little piece of wire that just wants to keep getting stuck, but we just gonna keep on going. So I'm going to keep going. Let's see if I can bend this piece of wire that keeps getting stuck. All right, so obviously I didn't cut this curve enough because it keeps like wanting to do its own thing, and I'm not having it. So I'm gonna snip it one more time, and I think we should be good. Oh, I see what it is. I missed that one hole. Like I told you guys, if you miss a hole, go back. There we go. Oops, nope, I didn't get it. So it's hard for me to hold this up and see on the other side at the same time, but let's see if I hold it this way. If I can then, I'm trying to keep it where in frame where you guys can see, because it's really not that difficult. It's only because I'm trying to show you this and I can't see that back side. So let me see if I look in the camera. There we go. All right, now we got it. Almost done. So you see how easier it goes in, much easier if you got that wire cut properly. It's trying to go too fast now. All right, so we're almost done. You can see we're at the end here. All right, once you get that wire back in, you're going to take your needle nose pliers and you're going to rebend that first piece of wire. All you need to do is just take that first piece of wire and connect it to the second piece. The first piece to the second piece, and the first piece to the second piece. You're going to do it at the top and the bottom. All right, so I'm going to turn it around so I can see here, guys, and I'm using my needle nose pliers. So I'm just going to connect it just like that. Hopefully you guys can see that. All right, and you're only just reconnecting it so that just how easily we cut it to take it off, no one can, you know, our pad won't just fall apart because it's not connecting. So just that simple. I just reconnected that wire. You can see how they're touching now. And now I want you to see our notepad is gorgeous. It is all lined up perfectly, 8 by 10.5. And all we did was use Canva, and then we just printed it out by just opening up the file. We printed it right from there. All right, so we didn't have to go into Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, any other print places. We did it just by double clicking on the image and opening it up, and then choosing to print from there. And you guys can see it lines up perfectly. All right. All right, so that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it, guys. This is how you can repurpose your pen and gear notepads, the 8x10.5, without having to have a wide format printer. You can do it all from Canva. Make sure, guys, if you're creating these images inside of Midjourney's Discord server, you want to use an aspect ratio of 17:22. Okay, 17:22 for, to get it in that portrait position so that it looks nice and neat when you bring it into Canva. So all we did was use Canva and then print it out, all right, by opening the image and printing from there. All right. All right, guys, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. If you're currently in my Facebook group, I want to thank you guys for following me via Facebook. And if you would like to join my Facebook group, Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafters, all you have to do is click the link in the description for my Facebook group, agree to the Facebook group rules, and you are in, okay? And then if you're currently subscribed to my YouTube channel, I want to thank you guys so much for following me via YouTube. If you like my method of teaching and you would like to you like my method of teaching, you're seeing me for the first time, then please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. And I want to give a special shout out to Anna, that is in my Facebook group, for giving me a few tips to help to make this process a little bit easier for us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys, that's it. You know my story. At the end, I always go is each one reach one so that each one can teach one. And you guys have an amazing day. Bye.